Welcome to this A-level video on the structure and function of the nephron. The nephron is the basic structural function that we find in the kidney. Its major function is to regulate the concentration of water and other soluble substances like salts by filtering the blood, reabsorbing what is needed and excreting the rest as urine. As we move throughout this video, there is a downloadable diagram of the nephron that you can go and annotate as we move through. Please feel free to pause the video at any time, as this will help you annotate it. We're going to start by looking at the basic structure of the kidney. So the kidney is split into three main parts. The outer part is called the cortex. The cortex is where you get ultrafiltration happening. Underneath that you have the outer medulla. The outer medulla is where you're getting lots of reabsorption of water and the active transport of salt. Underneath that is the inner medulla. The inner medulla is where the area at the bottom of the loop of Henle is found. To one side of each loop of Henle is a collecting duct. This is a system in the kidney that consists of a series of tubules that connect to the nephrons and the urethra. You've got the loop of Henle. The loop of Henle is the part of a kidney tubule that forms a long loop into the medulla, from which water and salts are reabsorbed into the blood. You have the distal tube, or the distal convoluted tubule. This is a portion of the kidney between the loop of Henle and the collecting duct. You have the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule is a cup-like sac at the beginning of the tubular component of the nephron. It's where ultrafiltration of the blood occurs, and in the middle of our Bowman's capsule is the glomerulus. The glomerulus is a cluster of nerve endings and small blood vessels that lead out of the rest of the body into the kidney. The first stage in the function of the nephron is where the blood enters the nephron through the glomerulus. This is where ultrafiltration happens. In the glomerulus, the blood pressure is raised as the blood is passing through small capillaries. This enables ultrafiltration to take place. This is achieved by the arterial entering having a relatively wide lumen which narrows as it gets nearer the glomerulus. So as the blood moves through it, the pressure gradually increases. The pressure or concentration gradients in the blood lead to separation through a semi-permeable membrane. Suspended solids and solutes of high molecular weight are retained in the blood, while water and low molecular weight solutes pass through the membranes. Water, glucose, amino acids, urea and inorganic ions pass out of the blood through the wall into the Bowman's capsule. The filtrate moves into the proximal convoluted tubule, where glucose, vitamins, hormones and amino acids are moved or reabsorbed back into the blood by active transport. The remaining substances, which consist mainly of water and urea and some inorganic salts, pass down into the loop of Henle. Water moves out of the filtrate back into the medulla of the kidney as it moves down the loop. Water diffuses through the descending limb by osmosis as the concentration of the water in the filtrate is higher than in the medulla. The first section of the ascending limb is very permeable to sodium ions, so they can move out of the concentrated filtrate back into the medulla by diffusing down the concentration gradient, raising its salt concentration. As the filtrate moves up the ascending loop, the concentration of sodium decreases. This causes the amount of sodium chloride diffusing out to decrease. The upper section of the ascending limb, sodium chloride is moved out of the filtrate by active transport. This is carried out by proton pumps. The ascending limb is impermeable to water, so more sodium chloride is transported out of the more dilute filtrate. So the more sodium chloride that is pumped out, the more dilute the filtrate becomes. The medulla becomes increasingly salty. Balancing the water needs of the body takes place in the distal convoluted tubule. The distal convoluted tubule is permeable to water and is affected by ADH or antidiuretic hormone. ADH affects the permeability of the distal convoluted tubule to water. The more ADH, the greater its permeability. The water and ions left in the filtrate pass down into the collecting duct and drains to the bladder through the urethra. Hopefully this video has been useful. Good luck with your exams, and follow the link below for an attached sheet which describes this process and will allow you to label it.